February 21st, 1916, 7:15 in the morning, the French region of Verdun. For the next 9 hours, hell would fall from the sky. 2 million artillery shells, fired by over 1,000 German guns. Every square meter of earth struck 6 times over. This was just the opening salvo. The Battle of Verdun would rage for 300 days, 10 months of mechanized slaughter, the longest battle of the First World War. By the time the guns fell silent in December, 700,000 men would be dead or wounded. Do the math. 100 men every hour. For 10 months straight, you could set your watch by the dying. And here's the most disturbing part. The fortress of Verdun had almost no strategic value. By 1916, military experts considered it obsolete, outdated, irrelevant. So why did two nations feed an entire generation into this meat grinder? The answer lies in a secret German memo written on Christmas Day, 1915. A memo that proposed something unprecedented in military history. Don't try to win territory. Don't try to break through enemy lines. Instead, choose a target the French must defend at all costs, then bleed them white. Kill so many Frenchmen that France itself would collapse. The target they chose was Verdun. The plan was called Operation Judgment. French soldier Alfred Joubert would write in his diary, "Humanity is mad. Hell can't be worse than this." He was 19 years old. He'd be dead within weeks. 300 days, 700,000 casualties, and a question that still haunts us today. When the killing itself becomes the objective, who really wins? This is the story of the Battle of Verdun, the battle that changed warfare forever. December 25th, 1915, German military headquarters. Christmas Day. While soldiers in the trenches observed a fragile ceasefire, German Chief of Staff Erich von Falkenhayn sat down to write. His memo to Kaiser Wilhelm II was blunt. Germany was trapped in a stalemate. The Western Front had become a killing field with no end in sight. Something had to change. Falkenhayn proposed a radical strategy. Find a place the French would defend to the death, then turn it into a slaughterhouse. The location he chose was Verdun. Verdun sat on the Meuse River in northeastern France, a fortress city ringed by concrete forts. Douaumont, Vaux, Souville, names that would soon become synonymous with death. But Verdun meant more than military geography. It carried history, symbolic weight. The city had withstood sieges for centuries. It represented French resistance, French pride. Falkenhayn knew this. He was counting on it. His plan was horrifying in its simplicity. Attack Verdun with overwhelming artillery, force the French to counterattack, then slaughter them with German guns. The objective wasn't capturing the city. The objective was killing Frenchmen, as many as possible. 2 months later, 60-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Émile Driant commanded French forces in the Bois d'Écourt, a forest northeast of Verdun. Driant had been a politician, an author. He'd written military fiction predicting future wars. Now he was living his nightmare scenario. For months, Driant had warned French high command. Verdun is vulnerable. The forts are undermanned. The trenches are incomplete. His superiors ignored him. Verdun was safe. Driant didn't believe it. On February 20th, he wrote to his wife a letter she'd only read if he died. The Germans are going to attack. He was right. February 21st, 7:15 a.m. The sky erupted. Trees exploded into splinters. Earth geysered into the air. Forests vanished in smoke and fire. The noise could be heard 150 miles away. Driant's chasseurs huddled in their trenches, waiting for it to end. It didn't end. Not for 9 hours. When the bombardment finally stopped, silence fell over the Bois d'Escourt, an unnatural, ringing silence. Then the German infantry came, thousands of men advancing through the smoking ruins. Among them was Friedrich Weber, 23 years old, from Munich. He'd joined the army in 1914, believing the war would be over by Christmas. That Christmas was 2 years ago. Weber's regiment advanced through the shattered forest, the smell of cordite and something worse. The French chasseurs were still fighting, still dying hard. Driant's men emerged from their trenches, maybe 1,000 still alive. They opened fire. For 6 hours, they held. Darkness fell. The Germans pulled back. Weber saw bodies everywhere. German, French, impossible to count. Day 2 began at dawn. The Germans attacked again with flamethrowers, jets of liquid fire that turned trenches into ovens. Mid-afternoon, Driant moved between positions, shouting encouragement to his chasseurs. Movement attracted attention. A German MG-08 swiveled. 4 rounds. Driant fell face first into the soil he'd sworn to defend. Weber was 200 yards away when it happened. He didn't know the French officer's name, didn't know he'd warned everyone, didn't know anything except another man was dead, the officer who'd predicted everything. Dead on day 2. His chasseurs kept fighting. They'd hold the Bois des Cars another full day. But the man who'd warned everyone was gone. Weber wrote home that night, "We're advancing. The French fight hard. I don't know how long this will last." He had no idea. None of them did. The countdown had begun. Day 2 of 300. And 5 miles south, something even worse was about to happen. February 25th, Day 5. Fort Douaumont, the largest fort in the Verdun defensive ring. Massive concrete walls, artillery turrets, underground barracks, designed to withstand any bombardment. This fort was supposed to be the anchor of French defense, impregnable, unassailable. There was just one problem. It was nearly empty. French high command had decided the forts were obsolete. They'd stripped out the heavy guns, pulled out most of the garrison. On February 25th, Fort Douaumont held fewer than 60 men. Maintenance crew, technicians with no heavy weapons to operate. That afternoon, a small German patrol approached. About 90 men from the Brandenburg Regiment. They'd gotten separated from their unit during the advance. They found an entrance through the moat. Pioneer Sergeant Kunze and 10 men climbed through first. Inside, they found French soldiers sleeping, eating lunch, completely unaware. The Germans took them prisoner. Barely a shot fired. More Germans followed. By nightfall, Fort Douaumont had fallen. Fewer than 100 men had captured a fortress designed to hold off an army. In Paris, the news caused panic. The government needed someone to fix this. They called General Philippe Pétain. Pétain arrived on February 25th. He organized the Noria, the mill wheel, a rotation system. Divisions would fight at Verdun for 2 weeks, then rotate out. Fresh troops rotate in, constant cycling. Every French soldier in the war would pass through Verdun. Pétain organized one crucial lifeline, the Voie Sacrée, the Sacred Way, a single dirt road from Bar-le-Duc to Verdun. Every 14 seconds, a truck passed, day and night. 3,500 trucks, carrying men, ammunition, food. If this road closed, Verdun would fall. Around this time, someone said 3 words that would echo through French history. Ils ne passeront pas. They shall not pass. Verdun would not fall, no matter the cost. Weber's regiment rotated through Verdun 3 times over the next 12 weeks. 2 weeks in hell, 2 weeks in reserve, then back. The first rotation, he was terrified. The second rotation, he was numb. The third rotation, he was empty. His friend Klaus, the one who used to joke about French wine, got his jaw blown off by shrapnel, died choking on his own blood. Took 4 minutes. Weber wrote home, "We fire until the barrels glow red. Then we fire more. I don't know what we're shooting at anymore. I don't think it matters." His letters stopped describing the fighting after that. Just, "I'm alive, still here, still counting days." That's all anyone could do. Count days, count shells, count bodies. The shelling never stopped. German guns fired constantly. French guns answered. The noise was unbearable. Men went deaf. Some went insane. Soldiers developed shell shock. Men would shake uncontrollably. Couldn't speak. Couldn't function. Officers on both sides began writing the same thing in their diaries. A German captain. "We've been ordered to take ground that doesn't matter. This makes no sense." A French lieutenant. "Command says we must hold. At what cost? Everything." Neither man knew the other existed. Both had realized the same truth. Weber watched his regiment march up the Voie Sacrée for their 3rd rotation. Fresh faces, nervous jokes. Same as his group 12 weeks ago. He watched them march back 2 weeks later. Half the size, no jokes, dead eyes staring at nothing. 2 weeks later, another regiment marched up, then back, then another, then another. The faces changed, the routine didn't. Feed men in, spit bodies out, repeat. Weber realized something. They're not trying to win anymore. They're just keeping the thing running. Another soldier described the landscape. Not a tree, not a blade of grass, just shell holes, overlapping shell holes, gray mud, and pieces of men. French soldier Alfred Joubert, 19 years old, wrote in his diary, "What a massacre, what scenes of horror. Hell cannot be so terrible. Men are mad." Joubert would be dead within weeks. Weber would survive 6 more months. Both were casualties of the same machine. Week after week, division after division, the Noria system kept turning. Fresh troops arrived at Verdun, wide-eyed, terrified. Most had never seen combat. 2 weeks later, the survivors rotated out, hollow-eyed, shaking, changed forever. And always, the question, when does it end? The answer was always the same. Not today, not tomorrow. Keep counting, keep surviving. The machine demanded more. June 1st, day 102, Fort Vaux. The Germans wanted another fortress, another symbol. If Vaux fell, they could threaten Verdun itself. The fort's commander was Major Sylvain Eugène Raynal, 49 years old, experienced officer, a few hundred men inside. The Germans came with everything: flamethrowers, poison gas, heavy artillery. They pounded the fort with shells, then sent infantry into the tunnels. The fighting moved underground, bayonets and grenades in pitch-black corridors, hand-to-hand combat in spaces too narrow to swing a rifle. The French held, day after day. But Fort Vaux had a fatal flaw: its water supply. The cistern had been damaged by shelling, contaminated. Water was running out. By June 4th, the men inside were desperate. They tried collecting water from the walls, drinking condensation. Some drank their own urine. Raynal sat in the fort's command post. His tongue was swollen, cracked. He could barely swallow. His men were worse. Some were drinking condensation scraped from walls. Others had given up entirely. A lieutenant appeared. "Sir," the men are asking. "How much longer?" Raynal didn't answer. What could he say? Relief isn't coming. Paris has forgotten us. We're dying of thirst while the enemy waits outside. But saying that would break them, so he lied. "Soon. Hold a little longer." The lieutenant nodded, walked away. Raynal heard him repeating it in the tunnels. Soon. Just a little longer. Raynal had carrier pigeons, his last line of communication with French command. He sent message after message. "We are holding. The enemy attacks with gas and smoke. We urgently need relief." No relief came. June 4th. His last pigeon. The bird's name was Valiant. Raynal wrote the message. His hand shook. Not from fear, from dehydration. "We are holding, but we are exhausted. This is my last pigeon." Valiant flew through poison gas, through shell fire. It reached French headquarters. Then it died. The pigeon would later be awarded the Croix de Guerre, France's military medal for bravery. But no help arrived for Raynal. June 7th, day 108, 6 days into the siege. The water was gone. Men were dying of thirst. The tunnels were filled with wounded. The stench of death was overwhelming. Raynal made his decision. 7:00 p.m., he surrendered Fort Vaux. The Germans who accepted his surrender were shocked. They'd expected to find a broken garrison. Instead, Raynal's men marched out in formation, weapons stacked, colors flying. The German commander was so impressed he returned Raynal's sword, a gesture of respect between soldiers. But the fort had fallen. France had lost another symbol of resistance. In Paris, the government panicked again. First Douaumont, now Vaux. Was Verdun about to collapse? The answer came 2 weeks later, June 23rd, day 124. The Germans launched their final major offensive, everything they had left. One massive push toward Verdun itself. Weber's regiment was part of the assault. He'd been at Verdun for 4 months now. He'd stopped writing home. What was there to say? They advanced faster than they had in months, closer to the city than they'd ever gotten. French lines were crumbling. They reached Fort Souville, the last major strongpoint before Verdun. If Souville fell, the road to the city would be open. Inside the fort, French soldiers prepared for the end. This was it, the breaking point. German infantry reached the fort's walls. They planted their flag on the ramparts. For one brief moment, it looked like Germany would win. Then something unexpected happened. The Germans stopped advancing. Not because the French stopped them, because the Germans couldn't continue. They'd run out of men. Weber stood at the base of Fort Souville, exhausted. His regiment had started the day with 400 men. Maybe 150 remained. An officer shouted orders to continue the assault. Nobody moved. They couldn't. They had nothing left. Falkenhayn's strategy of attrition had worked exactly as planned. The French had bled, but so had the Germans. The assault on Souville stalled, then stopped, then collapsed. The Germans fell back. A German officer wrote that night, "We were ordered to break through, but with what? Everyone is gone." A French captain wrote the same evening, "They stopped, not because we beat them, because they had nothing left." Neither do we. Weber wrote nothing. He sat in a shell crater and stared at nothing. A French captain wrote days later, "Driant was right. He warned us. We didn't listen. Now we're paying the price he already paid." The captain didn't know that Driant's body still lay in the Bois des Scars, unrecovered, unmourned, just one more corpse in a forest of corpses. But Driant's warning had proven true. Verdun was vulnerable, and France had fed an army into the gap. Day 124 of 300. The German advance ended. They would never get this close again. The crisis point had passed. Verdun would not fall, but something else had happened. Something both sides were beginning to understand. The battle had become a machine that fed on both armies equally. Falkenhayn had designed a trap for the French. He'd built a killing ground where France would bleed to death, but Germany had walked into the same trap. Both nations were now caught in the machine's gears, both feeding at their sons, both unable to stop. The French couldn't withdraw. Verdun meant too much symbolically. The Germans couldn't retreat. They'd sacrificed too much to give up now. So the machine kept grinding, day after day, week after week, counting down. Weber stopped counting days. The calendar meant nothing when every morning looked like the last one. Summer turned to autumn. The French prepared their counterattack. They wanted their forts back. They wanted vengeance. The killing wasn't over, not even close. October 24th, day 247. 8 months after the battle began, General Robert Nivelle stood before his officers. He'd taken over from Pétain in May. Now he had a plan. Retake Fort Douaumont, retake Fort Vaux, reclaim what was lost, but do it fast. Overwhelming force, shock, and speed. The exact opposite of how the Germans had fought. They'd ground forward slowly, bled themselves white, trying to capture every meter. Nivelle would strike like lightning. He assembled a massive force, hundreds of guns, aircraft for reconnaissance, tanks, the new British invention, clumsy metal boxes that could cross trenches. October 24th, 11:40 a.m. The French artillery opened up. They'd learned from 8 months of hell. They knew every German position, every machine gun nest, every command post. The bombardment sliced through German defenses like a scalpel. Then the infantry advanced. 3 divisions, moving fast, not stopping, bypassing strong points, driving forward. By early afternoon, French troops reached Fort Douaumont, the fortress that had fallen in hours back in February, the symbol of French humiliation. The Germans inside fought hard. They'd held this fort for 8 months, but they were exhausted, outnumbered, cut off. By nightfall, French troops held Fort Douaumont again, the fortress that took Germany 8 months to exploit, retaken in hours. November 2nd, day 256. French troops took Fort Vaux, the fort where Major Raynal had held out without water, where men had died of thirst in the tunnels. The Germans retreated to their starting positions. Weber's regiment fell back with them. 8 months of fighting, for nothing. They were exactly where they'd begun on February 21st. Weber looked back at the battlefield as they withdrew. The moonscape of craters, the shattered forts, the villages that no longer existed. His friend Klaus was buried somewhere in that mud, along with thousands of others. What had they died for? December 18th, 1916, day 302. The Battle of Verdun officially ended. The final casualty count is still disputed. Best estimates put it around 700,000 to 800,000 combined, French and German together. 306,000 dead, the rest wounded, many permanently disabled, faces destroyed, lungs burned by gas, minds shattered. The landscape around Verdun was unrecognizable. The land itself had been murdered. 9 villages were completely erased: Beaumont, Bezonvaux, Coumieres, Douaumont, Fleury, Haumont, Louvemont, Ornes, Vaux. They're called villages that died for France. The government never rebuilt them. The ground was too toxic, too many unexploded shells. Even today, over a century later, the area remains dangerous. The Zone Rouge, the red zone. Hundreds of square miles where nothing grows, where people cannot live. Every year, farmers still find shells, bombs, human remains. The earth continues to give up its dead. France claimed victory. They'd held Verdun. The Germans never broke through. Germany claimed they'd accomplished their goal. They'd bled France white. Both were right. Both were wrong. The truth is simpler and darker. There was no winner at Verdun, only survivors and ghosts. Weber went home to Munich in 1919. He never spoke about Verdun. Not to his wife, not to his children, not to anyone. Some things couldn't be put into words. The Battle of Verdun changed warfare forever. It proved that modern industrial war could sustain slaughter on an unimaginable scale, that nations would feed their own citizens into the machine, that symbolism could override strategy. It broke something in the French army. In 1917, mutinies erupted across the French lines. Soldiers refused to attack. They'd seen Verdun. They'd had enough. The man who saved Verdun, Philippe Pétain, became a national hero. France called him the Lion of Verdun. 24 years later, in 1940, that same man would collaborate with Nazi Germany. He'd become head of Vichy France, the hero of Verdun, the traitor of World War II. Erich von Falkenhayn, the architect of Operation Judgment, was fired in August 1916. His strategy had failed. He'd bled Germany as much as France. And that secret Christmas memo, the one proposing to bleed France white? Historians think Falkenhayn wrote it after the war, a convenient excuse for failure. His attrition strategy might have been invented later to justify a botched breakthrough attempt. The Prussian army archives were destroyed in 1945. We may never know for certain, but we do know this. In 1932, a woman traveled to the Bois d'Escours, Émile Driant's daughter. She wanted to see where her father died, warning everyone. The forest had grown back, young trees covering old scars. She couldn't find the exact spot, but she found something else. A German helmet, a French rifle, lying side by side in the leaves. Both rusted, both forgotten, both equally meaningless. She left them there. That same year, France opened the Douaumont ossuary, a memorial above the battlefield. Inside, the skeletal remains of 130,000 unidentified soldiers, French and German, mixed together. You can look through windows in the foundation, see the bones, piles of skulls and femurs. In death, they're finally equal. The bones don't remember which side they fought for. Every year, the French army trains bomb disposal units at Verdun. There's no other place like it. The Zone Rouge remains weaponized. Farmers still die. Hikers still die. The killing continues. Verdun isn't just history. It's a warning carved into the landscape itself. When you make killing the objective, the killing never stops. Not even after the guns fall silent. This is the War Maestro Chronicles. The battles they celebrate. The truths they bury. 700,000 casualties. 300 days. For symbolic ground both sides already held. Falkenhayn designed a trap. Germany walked into it too. When you make killing the objective, everyone loses. Subscribe for more stories where the numbers tell the truth, the narratives hide. Thanks for watching.